What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another Euro 2020 fancy video. I almost said FPL there. My intro is so ingrained in my brain when I do it that I almost said FPL. But this is definitely Euro 2020 fancy, and we're going to be talking first draft. Now, like my FPL videos, I think I'm going to keep it interactive. So rather than just have a screenshot of the team, talk through it, and then job done, I'm going to keep it. So I've actually got the image up on the website, on the Euro 2020 fantasy website, and then I might make some changes, talk about what I'm looking at when I decide on my players, what needs improvement, because this is not the final team, of course. We're still, what is it? It must be just over 2 weeks, right? 15 days, I think, until it starts. We've still got friendly matches to play, which will give us indication of who's nailed. And also, some teams haven't even got their full squad out yet. England is one of them. I don't think the players that we're going to choose from England, for example, are going to change too much because they'll definitely be included. But all these things are worth thinking about over the next 2 weeks. So if you enjoy this video, please do give it a like and hit that subscribe button. I'll probably do one or two more before the tournament starts. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so this is the team as it stands. Let me just explain a couple of things before we start, right? So one, I know it's not the easiest thing to view, so I can make it bigger, right? So I can do this, but I'm going to have to scroll through and show you the whole team. I can't show the whole team at once and for it to be big enough. And also, when I click make transfers, it doesn't work on this side, so I have to go back down, which is a little bit disorientating. It's a bit annoying, I know, but it's the best I think I'm going to be able to do just to show you this team. So we'll bring it back up here. So I'm going to be scrolling a bit, looking at match days, fixtures and stuff like that. Also, I've left the team based on kind of the best players rather than what my subs would be, but I'll show you what I'm thinking of with that. There's some questions after my rules video yesterday that people still aren't sure about, so I'm going to talk about that as we go as well. On the left hand side of the screen, which is that way above my head basically, this is obviously match day one. We've got unlimited transfers. I'm going to use a similar setup when I talk about my teams for the other match days as well. My current chip strategy is to use the limitless chip in match day 2. I don't really see a scenario where I don't use it. We've got a wild card and a limitless chip. The wild card just means you can change all your players, but then you keep them for subsequent rounds until you obviously use another chip or make transfers. The limitless, you just have it for one game or match day, I should say, and it's unlimited budget. So let's say I did go with this team in match day 1. In match day 2, I could completely change this team and have no budget restrictions whatsoever, which is going to be really fun, by the way. And then in match day 3, I'm going to keep saying nearly game week. In match day 3, I'd get this team back, and obviously I can make a couple of transfers. And squad value is 100 million because it is for everyone. Now, the way that I've set up right now, let me just make this a little bit smaller if I can. It's really annoying the way it spaces stuff out because it will not. The only way to get the subs on is to have it like this. So hopefully you can see that. So Lukaku, Kane, Ronaldo, front three. In midfield, I've got Torres, Chiesa, De Jong, and Zelensky. One thing I will say, right, I am definitely going to get pronunciations wrong throughout this whole tournament. I will do my best to get them right, but I just apologise now. I'm bad enough with the Premier League, let alone with this. And then in defence, right now I've got all 4.5 million defenders. So straight away, the things to possibly improve is the defence, right? I've got Donnarumma in goal for Italy against Turkey for the first match day. And then I've got Dutch representation, Belgian representation, and Spanish representation, all for 4.5 million. Windau, I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna just apologise this whole video. The Dutch dude, he's 4.5, should be nailed. Again, friendlies will hopefully tell us that. They start off, I think Holland or Netherlands and Belgium are probably two of the strongest teams with one of the weakest leagues. Again, no disrespect to any countries, right? We're just purely talking from a footballing perspective. So they start off with Ukraine, then they got Austria, and then they got North Macedonia, who, to be fair, did get a win against Germany recently. But again, you're always targeting countries that you think are going to be the weakest, and that's all we're doing here. So I think Netherlands is definitely a country that I would look at. Belgium, again, pretty strong group. So they've got Russia, then Denmark, and then Finland. So a strong group to kind of target. The thing with Limitless in match day 2 is you get the Belgian players for Russia. I think they did really well against recently. I think they may have put like 7 goals past them in 2 games, something like that. They play Russia, and then when you Limitless in match day 2, Denmark is probably the hardest game of this group. You could then maybe go for 1 or 2 less Belgian players. It doesn't mean you go without them completely, but you could go with one or two less. And then in match day 3, you'd have them back, and potentially then you wildcard. So my chip strategy is limitless match day 2, and then maybe wildcard it in match day 3. And if I don't feel like my team needs it, i.e. if I had 3 Belgian players to start for Russia and then Finland in match day 3, hopefully you're following, then I might save that wild card until the quarterfinals when we lose another half of the teams, and maybe my team from the knockout rounds is just not looking good enough. So I'm not making that decision yet, but I think limitless match day 2 just leaves your options open. And the reason I want to use at least one of these chips in the groups, because you can target the weaker teams. Once you get to the quarterfinal, semi-final, and final, it gets much trickier to kind of differentiate your teams. You know, in the semi-final, there's only going to be 4 teams, right? So we're all going to be picking players from 4 teams. There'll be obvious picks to make. Like if Belgium are through, then Lukaku, De Bruyne, everyone's going to own these players. And so I want to get rid of the chips, at least 1, maybe 2, in the group stages. So I think I'm still waiting to find out which of these players are definitely nailed. Like, will Torres get the nod at centre-back, right? We saw him actually playing against Man United last night. So they've got Sweden and then Poland and then Slovakia. And yes, I'm clicking and reading the name in case I get the flag wrong. But with Ramos out, he could get the nod at centre-back, and hopefully the friendlies will kind of tell us that. I do think I'm maybe going a bit cheap in defence, but there are a lot of playing 4.5 million defenders. So you've got Danish one here, Kajar. I'm awful. I know, I'm apologising. And again, you have him for Finland. You're limitless in match day 2, get rid of him. And then in match day 3, you got Russia. And obviously, when you're limitless, there's no budget to worry about. So match day 2, there's going to be some cracking players you can go for. You're not worried about how cheap your defence is. You're just going to go all-out attack. There are some attacking players that aren't in here, like Florenzi, for example, Italy. Is it good to have a goalkeeper, or should I get a goalkeeper from one of these other nations? Like I've got Krul on the bench already for the Netherlands, and maybe swap to a cheaper second goalkeeper, and maybe put Florenzi or someone like that in as an attacking fullback for Italy against Turkey on match day 1. The weakest area is probably my midfield, right? I've got De Jong. I don't think he's really going to be a good option. Preferably, I'll get the money to go to Wijnaldum or someone like that. And then for the Polish midfielder, Zielinski. It's got to be something like Zielinski, right? Again, Slovakia and Sweden match day 1 and 2, 1 and 3. And bearing in mind, you can make transfers for this. The reason I've set my team up like this is I think forwards are really important. There's no bonus points or anything like that. But they are good captaincy options, right? And having strong captaincy options is really important. So if I just put that back down, okay, so when I was talking yesterday with the rules about subbing players in and changing the captaincy, you can do that every single day, okay? So if I was setting this team up for match day 1 on day 1, right? So June the 11th, Friday, when Italy played Turkey, then Ronaldo plays on the last day, right, of match day 1. So Turkey, Italy's the first, and Portugal, Hungary, and France, Germany are on the last day. So any players you've got in these 2 games, you want to put them on the subs bench. So just for now, I'll put Ronaldo in. I don't know why it does that. Why does it make you click again? It's so annoying. This guy here playing against Portugal, he should play, but again, we'll find out. Playing for Hungary, he'll be on the bench as well. And then who else have I got? Spain. When does Spain? Who's playing the second last day? Yeah, Spain. Okay, Spain versus Sweden, and Austria play the day before. Okay, so Austria play the day before Spain. So you want this guy in, right? Hinteregger, maybe. Why is Ronaldo not confirmed? I'll confirm. You can only do 1 sub at a time. Bit annoying. So you want to move him off the bench for one of the Spanish players because they play afterwards. Now, you can choose whether it's the attacker or defender. It doesn't really matter, but preferably you want your best players on the pitch. So you take the defender out, right, instead of the attacker, and then we just confirm that. So this is now the team, okay? Sorry, that's really annoying. So yes, Ronaldo's on the bench because he plays last. So my captain on day 1 with this team, and this team will change, like De Jong will definitely change. Chiesa's captain, okay? If he happens to get a couple of goals, someone's already been in my comment section telling me he's not going to get a couple of goals. I fully get that, right? That's not the plan. You're just hoping, right? So I captain him or I captain Donnarumma. Okay, could captain a goalkeeper, it doesn't matter. And if they're no good to me, right, because they don't get many points, let's say Chiesa gets an assist, right, he ends up with like 5 or 6 points or whatever it might be, that's not going to be enough for me for a captain when I've only had one player play. So then I would look at these match days. Okay, who do I have on day 2? Well, I've got Lukaku. So on day 2, I would swap the captain to Lukaku. Now, if Chiesa's only got 1 point, then you'd even swap him in for a defender. You'd even swap Torres in because he plays before Ronaldo, right? So on day 2, you can not only can you change the captain from Chiesa to someone else, you can also sub him out as well. Now you can do that as many days as you want. So you could have a captain for this day. You could have a captain for this day, one of these 3 games, not in each one day. So for Saturday, a captain for Sunday, a captain for Monday, and then a captain for Tuesday. Some things you cannot do, which people got confused about yesterday's video, you can't go back. So if Chiesa gets 7 points and then you swap to Lukaku and he gets 2 points, right? You can't then swap back to Chiesa. That's done. Once you swap, that's absolutely done. You'd have to swap to someone from this day or this day or this day. But technically you could have 5 different captains, and you should definitely make the most of players playing in the first day. So if you've got no Italy players and you've got a Turkish defender or a Turkish attacker, you should definitely captain them, because what if the defender gets a clean sheet and a goal, right? Super unlikely, but if they did, you just hold them as captain for the rest of the match day. You wouldn't then swap to another day. So, and the same for subs, but obviously you only have 4 subs. So one thing I will definitely do when I keep building my team ready for a couple of weeks' time, you really want 15 playing players if you can. You want the option to change them out. And that includes goalkeeper as well. And you want strong captaincy options. So for me, Chiesa, day 1 of match day 1. And then it's Lukaku. And then I've got Kane as well for this day. If that hasn't worked out at this point, then I go to Spain, Torres. Now, Torres isn't in there as a better captaincy option than Kane and Lukaku, but he would be my best option for that day. Or I could go for a defender if I thought he was better. And then if that doesn't work out, right? So again, going back up, so it's Chiesa, then Lukaku, then Kane, and then Torres. And if that hasn't worked, on the last day I have Cristiano Ronaldo, who I can sub in for whoever has been the weakest player. So, you know, if Lukaku's only got 1 point, then I swap him out for Ronaldo. If one of my defenders has only got 1 point, then Ronaldo comes in for them instead. And that's basically how it works. Hopefully that makes a bit more sense. One thing I'm kind of strongly looking at when I'm making this as well, so let me just sub a player out, it doesn't really hugely matter, is it's like pairs, okay? So it's pairs of players, and can I get better value out of the money that I'm spending? Because part of me wonders whether I even need Ronaldo. Because if I'm getting to this day with no points, that seems unlikely with my captain. Probably Lukaku or Kane or even Torres has probably done something, right? So do I need to have Ronaldo for this last day? You know, he's a good option, but is he absolutely needed? So, for example, Ronaldo and De Jong, and I'm just going to get onto the transfers page here. Ronaldo could come out, De Jong could come out. And then for forwards, if you want to cover Netherlands, you put Depay in, you have 9 million to spend. And so, again, if you wanted to have a Portuguese player, let me just find Portugal. Boom. You could have Jota. You can't quite stretch to Fernandes here, but you could have Jota or even Bernardo Silva. I'd probably put in Jota, to be honest. And then I've got 0.5 million to spend elsewhere. So instead of De Jong and Ronaldo, I've got Depay and Jota. Now, if I just confirm that for now, that gives me a different set of captains, right? So again, Chiesa or my Italy defender on day 1, then Lukaku, then Kane. Although I'd also have Depay against Ukraine. So that then tells me, do I need Kane as well? Now, you can have 2 good players on the same day, right? If they've got good fixtures, but you can only have one as captain. So that would then say to me, okay, if Depay and Jota is better than De Jong and Ronaldo, can I then get rid of Harry Kane and spread the money around somewhere else and get a cheaper forward instead? Because I could have Chiesa, Lukaku, Depay, Torres still, and then have Jota on the last day instead of Ronaldo. Okay, he's not as good as Ronaldo, of course. Ronaldo will take penalties, etc. But he's another option. So that's something I'm thinking about as well. Are there better ways or better pairs around? And I guess the one thing I'm going to try and look for is a cheaper midfielder, because right now I'm not happy with these 7 million. I feel like I could probably take some money out. I think the main way to do it is probably to get rid of Kane and just have Depay instead. What I'd really like to do is have 3 Belgian players, because I think they are going to rip that group up. I think Lukaku is great, but also someone like De Bruyne, maybe even Hazard if he's fully fit, could be an option too. But that's where my mind's at the moment. Denayer, he just seems like too good to be true. 4.5 million, is going to play in that Belgian squad with a back 3. Okay, sure, if they're playing back 3, you want the wing backs, right? But for 4.5 million to cover that defence, it seems like great value. Russia and Finland, because obviously, again, in match day 2, I've got the limitless chip, so I'm not really worried about that. He's definitely someone I want in my team. And then just really quickly, right, let's just have a quick look at match day 2. If we use an unlimited budget, then again, Italy defenders against Switzerland could be good. Netherlands against Austria, again, you could have Depay plus 1 more. England against Scotland, and hopefully there's not too many Scotland fans watching, but hopefully England do the business there again. And obviously, for this, you would skip Portugal versus Germany probably, and you would just cover France against Hungary. So in my match day 1 squad, I've got no France players because they're playing Germany. And on match day 3, they'll play Portugal. Not ideal either. But in match day 2, they got Hungary. So you could go Mbappe, Griezmann, plus 1 defender as well if you wanted to. There's lots of different options. But we won't worry about that for now because we're just on match day 1. So yeah, that's the draft as it stands. Let me just make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. That's the main team. With Depay and Jota instead of Ronaldo and De Jong. And then I've got the 4.5 million defenders who I probably need to upgrade at least one. So I think right now I'm going to downgrade one of the midfielders or Harry Kane and just try and get an overall better squad. But as long as I've got a captain for every day, even if that has to be a defender or a midfielder for the first couple, then happy days. Don't feel like you've got to have a massively... standout captain every single day, because it's just not necessarily possible. And for some reason I've lost the there we go. It's just not necessarily possible. But if you've got someone for the first day, even if a defender, that's absolutely fine. So I'll leave it there. I'll try and nail that down a little bit more over the next few weeks and come up with more core of players once we start seeing the friendlies and stuff like that, and who's absolutely nailed, then happy days. But I definitely want Lukaku. I think he's pretty much nailed. And I think Denayer is just too good value to turn down. And Torres seems like quite a good buy for 8 million. The problem with the midfielder, just really quickly to end, there isn't like that massively great goal scoring midfielder. Because in this, a lot of the wingers that would, like in FPL, you'd have like Salah as a midfielder, but realistically, he's a forward. And in this, those kind of players are listed as forwards, and you only get to pick 3. So I will spend a lot of my money in the forward line. But there you go. I'll leave it there. If you have enjoyed it, I'll just go back to my lovely little intro. If you have enjoyed it, please do give it a like and keep hitting that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments, by the way, what videos you want to see. I think I've got about 9 or 10 planned. How many I put out, we'll have to wait and see. But I've got quite a few different things planned, but obviously always open to ideas if there's something that you want to see. Let me know what you think about this team. I'm sure there's going to be lots of opinions. It will change a bit before the deadline, of course, and I'll do videos in preparation for that as well. But I'll leave it there. I've been talking for long enough. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you again soon.